Welcome, Night Owls, to the Book Club After Dark podcast, an inviting moonlit podcast. I'm your host, Danny.
And I'm Michelle. We review fantasy, romantasy, dark romance.
All things enchanting, intriguing, suspenseful, and maybe a little spicy, which I'm just going to say, like, tonight's book, it's a thriller, but, like, it was spicy. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Like, it was, like, okay. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, each episode features intimate discussions on captivating stories, sometimes spicy stories, mostly spicy stories, fan theories, and more. And this is your content warning. This podcast contains mature themes and discussions that may not be suitable for all audiences. Episodes include explicit language and descriptions of mature romance, as well as depictions of violence and other intense subject matter. This podcast is rated R for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Okay, and going forward from here, this is going to be your spoiler warning for My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. And so consider this your spoiler warning. We usually do our thrillers pretty top level. So we're going to cover our star rating, our rating overall, and then we'll kind of get into the details of it, kind of book club style. And then we'll do a down the rabbit hole segment, and then we'll also wrap with a mystery Q&A. So this is your spoiler warning for My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney.
Let's get cozy because the best stories are told after dark.
So we've got a mocktail mojito ready for you. That is tonight's drink of the episode. It's the Birdie special. So you have to have your fresh mint. You have to do a mint mojito. It's essential for Birdie to really get in the mindset, right? She's got to like get in the vibe. She's got to have she doesn't drink alcohol. You know, she's got to have her mocktail. She's ready to go. So this is Birdie's drink. And I feel like it is essential for Birdie to assess and, you know, analyze whatever's happening. She needs to have her mocktail mojito to get the job done. So that is the drink of the episode. It's the Birdie special. That's what we're having.
I love that because she's the whole bar is like such a weirdly key part of the story because this girl, she's like, I'm just going to post up at a bar and I don't drink alcohol, but I'm going to post up in the bar for my office. Welcome to my office hours. Like, oh, okay. I mean, that sounds fun. I'm just going to claim a bar as my own, but okay.
And then Birdie, I feel like too, like the fact that she doesn't drink is actually essential to her character and such a driving part. The reason she doesn't drink is like it's a lot to unpack as a mom, as a reader, like as all the things. And so how you make this at home, right? So let's go over that really quickly. You're going to definitely need fresh mint. There's no getting around it, folks. Like if you're going to make it, you got to do it right. All right. So we have to do the fresh mint. And then you can do like, there's a bunch of different ways you can do a mocktail mojito. You could do Sprite Zero. You can do your simple syrup and your lime and your sparkling water. Mojitos typically have rum, right?
Yeah.
That's the base. Which we all know Michelle, if we've been listening for some time.
Love my rum.
She's a rum girly. She loves her rum. She's a rum girly. And I'm not going to lie to you. I really don't love floating shit in my drink, but I will do it for Birdie in this case.
For Birdie.
I really will. For Birdie. Yeah. So cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to the floating shit in our drink. I'm drinking water, so hopefully I don't have shit floating in my drink.
Yeah, please don't. Jesus. All right, so tonight we are breaking up our ACOTAR coverage, but honestly, like I feel like this thriller was like a breath of fresh air in my ACOTAR reread. Let's kick it off. What's your star rating, Michelle? I'm curious. We haven't talked about, and I'll be honest, like
we haven't talked about this book at all.
Really didn't talk about this book at all.
No.
And we do, like we have a chat. So like we like talk. And this book, I was very like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to like keep it hush hush. We're going to talk later because we all know like Michelle and I are not big Feyre fans. So we've been talking about that. But we have not talked about this book. We have not.
No, we haven't at all. Okay, so for a star rating here, honestly, we talk about like a lot of thrillers we don't give 5 stars for just because it doesn't, they don't normally like hit all the elements. Usually something's missing and that's okay because thrillers are usually like, they're a palate cleanser. I know a lot of people use like contemporary romance as a palate cleanser. We use death and murder as our palate cleanser, which says something about us, I feel like, you know, but it's okay. We're not going to deep dive into the psychological element of that. But here, 5-star for me. We have our complex characters. We have multiple characters and multiple POVs, which I feel like sometimes in a thriller is really hard to pull off. Making sure because there's still like a mystery element to it, right? And if you have like multiple POVs, keeping the mystery is kind of hard to do because you have to tell the story from.
Wait. Hold on. How many other thrillers have you rated a 5-star though?
Riley Sager. That was the only 5-star I think that I've ever rated for a thriller.
Okay. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And now we have our chart. So we have a focus when we're rating. The setting was actually pretty immersive because you have the spooky we have a spooky house, right? We have the very the setting was actually spyglass. It was integral to, you know, how you find the body. There's like the caverns. There's a whole lot of like lore a part of the story. So that's why like a lot of times thrillers like setting can be hit or miss. But here the setting's important because of the lore in this area. We have original
Michelle,
plotline.
it's called Hope Falls.
I know. And Hope
Falls.
Hope falls on everyone because there's no hope in this area.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then obviously intricate plot, original story with the, you know, you can always do so when I was like first, I'm like, oh, my husband's wife. Okay, clearly the wife did some shit. But like kind of, it's more complex than that. I'm like, okay, the wife murdered someone, or the wife's he has like a mistress, which yes, but also there's more to that. And I had an emotional connection because you have moms in that element. I always feel connected to moms and like their driving point and like parents, and when you get your kids involved, especially
God, it was so
like
layered.
we see, because you have like the parental element from like she's like 18ish, right? She's like 18 to 20 towards the end, like when they're trying to get her out. She's legally an adult at this point in time, but she's still like mentally like when she got not hit with the car. You have the different elements of her in her childhood. And it was just really rough reading. It was awful reading. And that was like from the start. Like this was just like I wanted to like just eat it all up the entire time. Like I went through this novel really, really quickly. So that was mine.
How did you read it though? Like for our listeners, I did
immersive read. So I did immersive read because I like Alice Feeney's audiobook. She does really well in picking out her POV narrators, and there's multiple narrators. Everyone had like a different, you know, every character had their own person. Because sometimes there's like there can be like male and female, and like the female and the male they'll play multiple characters. But no, here we have everyone gets their own voice actor. So I did double.
Yeah, it was fantastic. You could hear people walking. The one thing that was like wild to me, and like I'll be honest, I feel like for me, and I'm gonna echo your sentiment, right? It's a 5-star. I think for me, it's hard to give a thriller a 5-star for all the reasons that you noted. But I did an immersive read. I think that the fact that when you're listening to this immersive read, you can hear the people like walking, and you can hear that like all these extra elements that they add. But more importantly, when Eden is walking her like quote final steps, the way that her audio just stopped when she fell from Hope's Falls cliffs, and then it was like, oh, I'm dying. Like there was all this like audio background before that because she was in this car. She was walking. You could hear like the sounds of the outdoors. You could hear all these different elements, and like it cut. Like all that background noise immediately cut as soon as she started to fall and like realized like she was gonna be unalived. It was wild, and it literally added so much depth. Yeah.
Plus, if you have
5 out of 5. Yeah.
And if you have Spotify, it's included. So Spotify is really good where it has like audiobooks included into your listening. So it was also on Spotify. I didn't buy it on Audible. I just used my Spotify subscription and read through it so quickly. So there are definitely ways to get the audiobook. And I feel like we do talk about the audiobooks a lot. I feel like audiobooks have just stepped up their game. You rarely have the one person, one narrator. And, you know, for a lot of smaller books or books that haven't really made their break yet, you'll have like the one narrator. But for a lot of novels, though, you have dual POV, you have multiple POVs, you have the immersive read in terms of like the sounds and all that. So I feel the audiobook game is just like so good right now. It's hard to, it's hard to miss out
Agree.
on that. So
It
yeah.
really is. They take their time. They did an excellent job with this book. I felt like I was with them. Even when the voice actors changed and played the different narrations, I didn't feel like I was missing out on story elements because of that.
No.
Like they were fantastic. I mean, they were just excellently cast. This book was phenomenally cast. But okay, so I'm like kind of usually with thrillers, it's not that spicy. But
No.
look, this book was spicy.
Well, yeah,
I felt like this book. Listen, this book was way spicier than most of the thrillers that we cover.
Yeah.
And usually, and I will say this, is like most of the thrillers we cover, the spice, unfortunately, is tied to some like traumatic event. So I don't know. What were your thoughts on that, Michelle?
I mean, there's obviously the glazed over spicy, like off page spice. When she's like mentioning how like her husband like eating the mistress and all that stuff. And then we have like the on page like Birdie with Carter, not once but twice. And so that element, and I feel like it's tied to her trauma in a sense of like she gonna die, like she has a death day, and fuck it, if you're
oh my god, girl, we're gonna talk about AI and Death Day in a minute, but we need to talk about the spice. So let's just like
I would say about like,
because I agree with you.
Yeah.
What's your rating?
I would say it's like about 3 pepper, about 2 to 3, honestly, because it's on page. Do we need it? No, but is it important? Yes. I think it's also important to establish Carter as a piece of shit, right? Because his wife wouldn't go around unaliving people if we don't really establish him as a piece of shit. So we have to get the ending as satisfying as it is, because she's a pissed off girl. The wife.
Look, my husband's wife. The way I was like, holy shit,
Wait,
Alice?
which husband? Yeah, exactly. Like, wait, no, I didn't realize it was my husband.
The way I text you, I was like, you're like, oh, the wives are, and I'm like, all the wives in capital letters.
Yeah,
all the wives are involved.
So the spice was important in terms of like Birdie getting her satisfaction, but it's also important to establish really Mary's motive. So the spice was important to obviously establish like Birdie's needs, right? But it was also important to establish Jane's motive, because Jane, quiet little wife, with her baby, their baby,
literal
plain
Jane.
Yes. We have to see Carter as a piece of shit, because if we didn't actually see that cheating element that he had over multiple times, because obviously this isn't the first time,
no,
Jane's motive would.
Why did he get married, my friend? Jesus, treason rice, my friend. What did we do? Ugh.
Doing and like on. So for that, he
said all the right things to his wife.
Yeah,
I think he said all the right things to her.
I'm gonna do this for you, exactly, because I'm gonna be the bigger person.
And he probably said I love you and all the things, even if he didn't feel it. He probably did,
right?
And so like, I'm not saying he's a good guy by any means. No. I'm just like, sir, if you didn't feel those things, why are we leading somebody on? What are we doing?
Or at least if you're going to, and obviously no experience in this wheelhouse, but like if you're going to take accountability for actions and say like your heart's not in it, but like you're doing it for your kid, which that's respectable. Be honest. Be like, let's be like this for the kid. Let's have the happy family for the kid, but like, let's not have a fake marriage, fake relationship. I don't know. I feel like there's different ways to go about it to make sure your wife isn't murdering people or unaliving anyone, So
Amy, from her perspective, I'm not her, but I also am like, well, she's a little pissed off. I'm just saying.
Do we justify the actions?
My husband's wife. Right? So like, we need to be taking tabs on all the wives. And the way I was not keeping tabs on Carter's wife at all. And so there were all these people commented like, oh, you didn't say they knew each other. Like, that's like the basics of, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, all right, let's talk about spice. Okay, so we're giving it a 3, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we're saying?
Okay. Yeah. That's fair.
Okay.
All right.
So I am also giving it a 3. And there's definitely 2 or more detailed scenes. There's several detailed scenes in this book. There's an innate human nature, like an itch that needs to be scratched, that's uncomfortable. Right. And it makes the reader uncomfortable. It makes the listener uncomfortable. And the way Alice Feeney can do this, she gets a 3 pepper, but she also gets a 5-star. And I feel like that ability to weave spice in where it almost feels so uncomfortable to read. Like, no, that's like, it's the best. I don't know what else to say about it. It's awful and great. I don't know. At the same time,
human. It's human because a lot of times when you're reading like spice, we're reading like the romantic-y version where he's literally like a forearm and like, you know, whatever, we're breaking furniture. And that's not like
we want these 2 perfect people to come together.
And like the same thing with contemporary. Contemporary is like perfect chemistry. Right. But here we have like the natural raw human element of like,
and it's fucked up.
Honestly, it's like messy. Life is messy and these parts are messy. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. I would absolutely agree. Okay, well, let's get into our discussion questions now. So let's talk about the beginning, because the beginning, like, she immediately messes with your brain, like at the very beginning. Like, what do you mean? So we get Eden's perspective at first. We're introduced to Eden at first, and so this is the first wife, kind of. Well, technically, she's the second wife of the first husband, but this is the first wife we're introduced to. And you know, she comes back for a run, and then all of a sudden she's locked out of her house. And she's like, goes through, like, as she's going through the steps, like, maybe I put the wrong key in, or maybe I didn't put the key in properly, or like, you know, maybe I did this, this, and this. I'm like going through that with her. I'm like, wait. And then all of a sudden, like, she's there, like another version of herself, like opens the door and is like, who are you? Get out of my house. And then her husband is like, who are you? Like, so what were your thoughts as you were reading that first few chapters?
Look, I was with Eden. And that's the thing, right? Is like Alice Feeney has this innate ability, no matter what book she writes, is like she is so good at getting these really, really elemental. It's very hard not to lean into Eden and want to take her side, because you read it from her perspective and you're like, oh shit, what do you mean? Like, your husband doesn't know you. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm on your side, and like, I totally understand. Like, you automatically want to side with her. And so when she died, and like, I don't know, chapter 8 or whatever it was like pretty early on. When she died, I was like, are we sure? Like, is she dead? Like, I don't know why I didn't think she was.
So like, obviously we're in it with Eden, and you know, when she breaks back into her house, she sees all of like her photos have been changed, like immediately, like all of like the wedding photo and like all the little things are just gone. So what did you actually think? Yeah, I know. Well, but you're thinking, because obviously when you go into thrillers, I always go into the mindset of like my narrators are not reliable. That's just with any thriller. Usually when you get a perspective,
wait, I have a question. Okay. So their thing, I'm not going to down the rabbit hole this, because like, I feel like this is like a thing that it's kind of a waste of time for us to down the rabbit. But like, there's a lot of people in the reader of all book talk are like, oh, immediately I picture myself as the main like female point of view. Can you even do that in this book?
No.
And like, what does that even look like?
I mean, I don't do that in general because this is fiction, right? I don't know. I know that is a big, like a hot topic right now. And that kind of goes into like the literacy issue. But I've never really pictured myself.
Not touching that.
We're going to leave that here.
Yeah, so it's over there.
I don't picture myself as that. I mean, honestly, like I feel like I'm there with her, like with the characters. Okay. I don't feel like I am the characters, if that makes sense as I'm reading.
No, it does. You're like sitting next to her as she's going through. Yeah. No, I would vibe with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. Especially in thrillers. I feel like thrillers, you know, you're going to, I wouldn't say always, but for the most part, depending on the authors that you've read and the authors we've covered, is you're more than likely going to get multiple points of view. So if that's the case, like there's no way that you can just be one the whole time and like envision yourself as one point of view. And I honestly think you're doing yourself a disservice by, in the fantasy world, envisioning yourself as the main character too, because you're not them and it wasn't written for you.
No.
I know this is like hard to hear, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be 33 and my knees are cracking and my back hurts when I lay on something funky.
Girl, please,
so I'm not going
calling
to
out numbers right now. Not even calling out numbers.
I'm just saying I'm not going to go to war and my knees are breaking like immediately. Like when
we would be a valuable asset to war.
I have to dive roll to get off this dragon. Okay.
In the noggin.
I'm never leaving the dragon's back.
Anyways,
okay, back to this story.
Anyways, yeah.
Okay, so you were in it with Eden, and through all these multiple, like she even like goes to her art auction, and like she watches herself give her speech, which is crazy. So, what do you think Alice Feeney was trying to get you to believe? Do you think she was trying to get you to believe that Eden is psychotic and maybe like actually an insane person, or that her life was actually stolen from her? Because the entire time I was like, maybe she's like this crazy ex or, something, and she like broke out of an insane asylum.
I believed Eden. Did you believe her?
I believe that she believed her.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's deep. That's some deep shit right there.
She was believing.
You believe that she believed what she was saying. Interesting. That's kind of fucked, Michelle. We're not going to talk about that in detail, but okay. All right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I see you.
Okay, that makes sense. So we have Eden's perspective, and Eden's perspective doesn't last. It lasts kind of long for kind of a main character, but she gets killed off.
It's pretty short. Yeah.
Which I'll ask you in a minute about like what you've thought about like, her unaliving.
Yeah.
But let's talk about like the introduction of our other key characters. So we have Birdie, Harrison, and Carter. So what were your thoughts as like you're introduced to their POVs?
So I immediately thought that Birdie and Eden were like in on something together. That was my immediate thought. Because I felt like they were described physically similar, even though like aside from the tattoos and stuff. And then the fact that Birdie was like a detective, I felt like, and like she had a tie to Spyglass. I was like, okay, well, her grandmother died at Spyglass. Like there's clearly something that ties her to Eden. So like maybe they planned all this. So the whole time I'm kind of waiting for the connection of Birdie and Eden, but it did not play out how I thought it was at all. All. No.
Yeah.
No. What I thought originally was because when we get Harris's perspective, like right after Eden like is unalived, she is unalive, she says her thing, and like Harrison wakes up and like his first like couple things he says is like, oh, I shouldn't have drank so much Malbec. And the way I almost picked Malbec for the drink of the episode is really close tie. I almost picked a wine for the drink of the episode, but then I was like, well, Birdie's really like more of a force in this book, and it makes more sense to pick a drink that's like of her. But anyway, so he wakes up and he's like hungover, and I just didn't trust him as a narrator either, especially with his whole like death day thing and like his money pulling into this. But I originally was like, oh, Eden and Birdie are like in cahoots somehow. And, somebody else, maybe somebody else is dead, like not Eden or Birdie. Like maybe like somebody, like I didn't know.
Okay.
Like I was just like very confused. I was like, why would Eden be dead if she's in cahoots with Birdie? Like, I don't know. Like I just was really confused initially what was going on with all these like all the things.
Agreed.
What about you?
So I thought it was I thought Birdie's connection was to Harrison, and not in the way that it turned out. I thought there was some connection there because of Spyglass. But I honestly didn't flesh it out. I was just kind of going along with the story just because there were so many twists. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with it. When Birdie was first introduced though, I was like, this is so random. Like she's just, I don't know, like she's dying and now she's here and she gets a letter from her estranged grandmother whom she loved, then just like disowned her, and then she had to like live in like foster care and have like a really shitty life because of all the other things that happen. So like her story, I was just so intrigued by how it fit in. I didn't guess how it fit in. I was just like, okay, well, we're just gonna be along for this ride. When Harrison was introduced, I thought Harrison was the one that unalived Eden, because I'm like, what do you mean you wake up and then you see her body? Like you visit the location of the body. How do you know the location of the body? Like, so I'm like, okay, Harrison is sketch.
He's involved. Yeah. Like, he's
the husband
involved
is sketchy.
in some way.
That's rule one of true crime. It's always the spouse. It is always the spouse. So, which technically, in a way, yes. Not entirely though. Okay, and then we're introduced to Carter's perspective, which Carter's like 28. He's like in his late 20s. And the way like, because Birdie is like, she's 40. And the way she like treats him like a child, and I just thought it was hilarious, because it's an age gap, and I'm just thinking, I'm like,
yeah, but he also acts like an idiot.
He's an idiot. Yeah, no, he's very immature for his age. He's very self-entitled. He's like, well, I should have gotten this. I should have gotten the promotion that Birdie technically got but didn't actually get. And she just kind of showed up one day. It's just like, this is my job now. And he's the way, no questions asked. No questions asked. No paperwork, no nothing. Yes, boss. I'm going to set up shop in a bar. Yes, boss. Like, the way he was just like, whatever. He walked her dog and was grumbling about it. But he's like, you know what? This is a good time. And, the dynamic was funny, and especially hearing Carter's inner monologue while like Birdie was telling him off and calling him like a shit cop and all that stuff. He's just like pouting the entire time like an entitled child. So I thought he was hilarious to listen to. He's obviously a piece of shit. Like he says he does all these good things, and he works hard and works overtime for his whatever. But his family's never at the forefront of his mind. Like when he all of a sudden like has a wife and child, was like, oh, that's new.
Oh yeah, I forgot about you guys.
He?
Oh right. Yeah. I'm married. Oh yeah, I'm married and I have a kid.
I should be staying at a hotel overnight because I'm married and have a child. So
it doesn't even come up until it has to come up. Like I feel like that to me read very true. I didn't feel like that was forced at all. I felt like that was very true to Carter as a character, because he's always like, it's not about me. I don't have anything to do with this. Lo and behold, wifey dearest has a lot to do with a lot of things, and you just have no idea.
Okay, well, let's jump into that then. So we talked about Eden being pushed off the cliff. So who at first, I said I thought Harrison was the one that pushed her, but who did you think pushed Eden at first?
Yeah, I thought it was Harrison too. I mean, I didn't think it was Birdie. I knew Birdie was like involved in some way or another, but again, like going back, like I didn't know that Eden was like actually dead. I felt like I wasn't sure. The whole thing was weird. Like, what is an actual fact here and what isn't? I did think that probably Harrison pushed Eden first, but I really we talked about Birdie and Carter's dynamic. Like, I really want to talk about Thanatos, because I feel like this is so much a part of like our AI conversations that we had. And like, I feel like the Thanatos thing as an idea and concept is wild and honestly, like not that far-fetched. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's like high level, like what is Thanatos? What do they do? And like, what were your thoughts about it?
So Thanatos basically selects people to basically guess their death day, and based on their health, their history, they have to input like a lot of medical information in, and based on that summary they're gonna guess their death day, and it's kind of accurate with disclaimers and that whole thing. Especially in the audiobook, listening to like Birdie's narration of the letter, like the voice changes, so like you're reading like the letter for the death day. And I thought, first off, Birdie wasn't supposed to go in to find her death day. knowing, so her grandmother is the one that got the invite, old grandmother is the one that got the invite, and she goes anyways. And the way, like, Birdie's connection to Harrison and Thanatos and that whole thing, I was like, interesting. Like, she, like, going in, she's like totally oblivious. But I'm like, wait, like in the end, I'm like, wait a minute, that's your husband? That ex-husband, and he owns the company that's your death day, and what is going on here? But anyways, so Thanatos, which, it's, I was like, wait, isn't that in Avengers? Like, when I first heard him, like, wait a minute, that's a bad guy in Avengers.
Thanos.
Yeah.
God of death. Exactly.
Yes. So yeah, and she has a chronic illness, cancer, and she was like, I'm just gonna see how long I have to live, which is not long at all. And the way I'm like, this is a load of shit. Like, I don't know. I don't
No, but I think it's a can of worms. I think it triggers how Birdie would have handled all of this. If she didn't have her death day and she didn't know, like, oh, I'm going to die on this date, like, does she even go to Hope Falls at all?
No, not for the plot. I meant, like, as a company as a whole. Like, if someone's like, you want to know your death day, I'm like, fuck no. Like, I'm not giving you all of my information.
That was the interesting part of him, like, having a reason to sell. Thanatos is like him saying, like, oh, well, if somebody knows their date of death, then it's more than likely that they might want to take everyone with them, or that they don't have any reason to feel badly about whatever thing they're about to do. And like, I don't want that on my conscience. Oh my God.
That just shows like, you can have an idea and have it for the best intentions, because like, it's like, so your death day, you can have all your affairs in order, you can do, like, you can hit your bucket list, you can do all those things, but then the back of your mind's like, well, there are some fucked up people out here, and they might not use this information for the good of themselves or their family or anyone around them. So, and that speaks to human nature, which Alice Feeney does. And I was like, you know what? You're right. This does not need to be in the hands of anyone. No one needs to. I wouldn't want to know. Like, imagine how much anxiety.
No, but it was wild.
I would have.
Okay, but it was wild, right? But it was wild because he's like, oh, Harrison's perspective was like, oh, yeah, we use AI and we take like everything you've ever posted on social media. Everything ever. We take all your food profiles, like whether it be through grocery stores or, whoever you get, whatever it is, Uber Eats, whatever you get your extra like points with, Starbucks, we take literally all of that data, plus any data you're willing to give us. And that's how we calculate your death day. And he notably, obviously, uses like hired actors as doctors. They're not real doctors, whatever.
No.
But the way that I read this, and it was like, man, this isn't that far-fetched.
I can see someone wanting to do this. I don't know. Because, like, I feel
there's
like
no regulation. Like, AI has like almost no regulation.
But, like, AI isn't going to say on, October 23rd, you're going to get hit by a car. Like, I feel like that, so if you're going for, like, natural causes or whatever, like, you can probably tell, like, if someone has a very poor diet, you're probably shaving X amount of time off their lives, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't take into account crazy incidents. Like, there's a hurricane and your house floods and you're trapped in a basement. Like, it doesn't take that into account.
But I feel like it does, because they would take like the statistical anomaly of the location you live in and the house you live in. And if you have and
when you got a roof done, and whether your roof falls into a tree,
literally,
the tree that was out there for 25 years might be rotted. And
if you don't replace it, because you are not a person that will get on it and replace it, so now your death day is this. Like, devil's advocate, right? Like, the point was to think about the ability. That was the whole point. Alice Feeney's intention was to say, how much are we allowing AI to make determinations on our lives? And is it actually for our benefit or our detriment? And I think that was her entire point. That was the whole point of her bringing Thanatos, because she could have brought any business into this. She'd be like, Harrison Company is a bakery. Like, why does it have to be a death day AI-driven company called Thanatos? Like, it's intentional. Right. So intentional that this is the way that that's written. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, well, like, all of a sudden we have this Mary character.
At, yeah, like, I know. It's definitely
2/3 of the way through the book.
Especially because we didn't get her point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're like, wait, this Mary character is important. And Mary has been helping Gabriella. And now she speaks a little bit. And the way I was like, is Mary Birdie in disguise? Because she's speaking.
Yeah, I did think that. I was like, is there something I'm not, like, is there timestamps that I'm not seeing with Birdie? Because Birdie's all over the place. And Birdie could have very realistically could have timestamps that didn't align because she's taking all these cancer drugs and whatever. She's not drinking, but she's definitely taking a lot of medication. So I could have seen like an ability to write off a period in time. But like that level of detail, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it made sense to have its own character.
I agreed. Once I got the full like story, I was like, okay, it makes sense. You know, you're now the other woman, but you're trying to right wrongs, but you're doing a wrong thing to right the wrongs. So yeah, that's some morality and a very complex level. So let's hop over to Gabriella's plotline because that was pretty heart-wrenching. So let's dive into thoughts and feelings really about difficult. her connection to Eden, her connection to Birdie, all of that.
I think Gabriella, if you were to see it on screen, would be painted as like the horror element. And it's ironic because she's just a little girl trapped in a daughter who is aged to 18 and, you know, run little rabbit run and like all the things that are audibly difficult to hear that bring the suspense into the story. Gabriella is truly she's had a very difficult life and at the hands of Eden. We just don't know that Harrison has a first wife who is Birdie or that Harris is interested in Mary, who is also played by Eden. We don't know all that, but we do know like Eden is always the villain in this.
Okay.
And I think that it was difficult for me. It's always difficult for me to read whenever there's a child involved in any story that's like this. But I think in this book in particular, where initially you think that she has this like freak accident and then Birdie turns out to be her mom and she thinks she hit her kid is mind-blowing.
Right.
And that she lived with that for so long.
Like a decade.
Almost a decade.
Yeah.
She literally divorced, separated herself from her family, was like, I'm okay, Harrison, with you marrying Eden. Like, clearly, like, I was an absentee mother. Like, clearly I had failed. Like, clearly I'm all these things. She thinks this horrible thing about her. And then finally, after spending time with her daughter, she comes to find out that she didn't hit her daughter. Birdie had nothing to do with her injury and why she is the way she is. And that her and Harrison had been plotting this whole time to, like, basically rescue Gabriella and get Eden removed and, like, also, like, have her understand and know what it felt like. It was satisfying, especially because you know that Birdie's going to die. And so for Birdie, this is, like, her opportunity. And for Harrison, he's just like, I got to figure out a way to get rid of Eden because she's hurting my kid and she's not my child's mother and she's the reason my child is hurt. I don't know. All of it came together. And then with Mary tied in, it just was wild. It was a wild story. I didn't pick up on any of that. Did you? Did you like predict any of that?
I didn't really because so first we're introduced to Gabriella from Eden's perspective. So we think that Eden's her daughter the whole time and how it was an accident and her and Harrison were having a quickie and she is just lost and she just went outside and got hit by a car.
Right.
So that's the perspective that you hear. And then that's it. Right. She gets hit by a car. The person that's supposed to be the one that's protecting, you know, is the one that kills and all that stuff. So when we get that whole storyline, like my mouth was like open the entire time I was reading it because I was just like, what do you mean? Like it's Birdie and like Birdie was carrying that I can't imagine. Like as Birdie's story was opening up, she's like, I was drinking from the bar. I heard there was a missing child. I'm like, no. Like the entire time, I'm like, no, it's not you. But it wasn't her. Because Eden is a psychotic woman. And then hearing that, like, I just maybe, and this is where I definitely don't read myself into characters, because I couldn't fathom that level of evil to be the one, you're a mistress. You're supposed to be the one taking care of the child, yet you're the one involved in ruining a marriage. It takes two, so it's not like entirely her fault for ruining the marriage, but you're the one, involved in the affair, and then you try to kill the daughter. What?
And leave her at the base of the stairs
to die, and then throw her into the street. Like, I don't, because that's not an accident. That's plot.
No,
like, you're plotting.
It's all planned.
Someone's death. So finding that out, I'm like, well, you know what? It's not a sad day for Eden. I'm sorry, not a sad day.
Yeah, we no longer feel bad for Eden.
We do not feel bad for Eden at all. But the fact that Harrison and Birdie were in on the whole planning together, I was like, oh, that's how they connect. Like, I was like, wait. So I didn't know that at all. I was like, oh my goodness. And then, what I like about thrillers, honestly, and it's so weird because you go through like all this murder and all this trauma, there's a satisfying ending to thrillers because, and it's not necessarily a happy ending, but it's this time has wrapped up and we're going to move on in whatever way, shape, or form it is, which I feel like is more reliant on life. Like that's something that happens in life. You go through trauma, you face that trauma. I do not condone locking people into caverns. But he had a way out. She told him a way out, Carter.
Yeah.
Once he came to, although Carter's ability to follow direction is very very minimal. But you have this storyline that kind of comes together in the end. Birdie has spyglass again. She lives her life that way. I was so happy when like Carter's not really involved with her anymore. I'm like, oh, because I was like, I hope they don't end up together because that's really fucked.
No.
So I'm happy that didn't happen.
But I think there's like an overarching theme here, right? Which is Harrison's theme, which is Birdie's theme, which is Carter's theme, which is you will do anything you can to save your daughter. And I think that's the overarching theme of the whole book, which is you'll do anything you can to save your daughter. And whether that be something you thought you would do or wouldn't is what's at play here. And I think that this book really delves into what would you do if this happened to you and what does that look like? It's very layered. I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Carter's wife, though, there's a lot of people who feel like Carter's wife was like a cheap way out of this book. And I actually thought it was poetic, given that it's called My Husband's Wife. It's going to be a wife that does it. Yeah. And I feel like there's so many ways. Yeah. This was, and I text you this, the only thing I text you about this book was that like it was the twistiest of thrillers I think I've ever read. I felt like Charlie Day, where I sent you the gif of like Charlie Day with all his little lines of like pictures of like pointing shit together. That's how I felt. I was like, oh my God, okay, so this connects somewhere. And like, okay, well, maybe this is like, I could not, and I loved Birdie and Sunday, and I love like their relationship dynamic. Like, I love like the level. I love the level of depth that Alice Feeney has for her characters. And that's the thing. And that's the reason why she's so able to kind of like shift your mindset is because she's so plot and character driven that you're in the room with these people. So for you to be able to like just be sitting there like trying to assess clue or something, it's challenging. You can't do that. She doesn't allow you that space because she wants you to really get to know these people as if you know them like she does. And I don't know. I loved it. That's why it's a 5 is it's not because it just stumped me. It's because she literally took me somewhere and I felt like I was with each one of them. That's an art. And not every thriller author is able to do that. Yeah.
No, I agree because especially the emotional aspect getting you to feel for all of the different characters and their actions and motives is very difficult when you have so many complex characters, even characters that don't, like Gabriella, she's a complex character and she doesn't get a lot of like page time. You don't know a lot about her, but you feel for her past and like her situation that she's in. So I would agree, echo all sentiments, and having you think. I feel like that's something that's lost and now age today. But like thinking about these themes that are really relevant, when you have children involved, or even like with whatever is going on in the story, like, how would I react to this? And you sent me a good quote. The other thing we did text on, because you sent me a quote and you're like, I don't want to forget this quote. And it was about how you can be a good parent and a bad person. Those, two true things can happen at once. I feel like that is just encompasses this story, because is everyone in the story a good person? No, but everyone's just trying to be a good parent. Besides Carter. Carter fucking sucks.
And Eden.
Yeah, well, yeah, Eden was not trying to. Well, we established Eden as a
not
villain.
A parent.
We're not even talking.
But she's not
about,
a parent.
No, she's not a parent either.
In this case, but not really.
Yeah, no.
She was a nanny that took advantage of a situation. Yeah,
exactly. But the parents involved,
right?
Minus Carter, they're just trying to do right by their children. And
well, I don't know. I think Carter can be included in that, because what Birdie offers up to Carter in the end is enough to protect his daughter.
True. Okay. Yeah. Okay. In the very end, he does do that, but his actions. So Birdie's and Harrison's actions are geared directly towards having a better life for their child, right?
Also, like, what's the trigger for that? I don't know that Carter's naive. Like, I don't know that he's actually felt. Yeah.
Like, when I was 28, I was having my first, I had my daughter at 28, and the way I'm like, this isn't, I don't know. Like, he's naive, but you're also in your late 20s. We have to, like, not be so stupid and self-centered. I would like to think people are not like that when they're 28 and they have a baby at home. But alas,
I mean, his wife isn't.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I think he likes to have like this cop out as a reason he can behave however he wants to behave, as a justification. And the fact remains, like, no, sir, you're still a grown-ass adult. Like, what are you talking about?
Yes.
No.
With a wife and child in a home.
That's not.
Go home.
That's not a thing.
Home. Well, I did think his sister was going to play more of an important role, because his sister shows up at Spyglass.
She was misleading.
I was like, wait a minute. Why are you here? Why are you here at Spyglass? Huh? So I thought she was going to play an important role, especially because she got angry with Birdie in the interview that they had. So she was a misleading character for sure. Probably to divert you from Jane being the unaliver that she is. And then I have a final question, because the book ends, and do you think, because Birdie's living in Spyglass, do we think that if Jane will find out about Birdie, and if she does,
I mean, that's a cliffhanger. It's like a cliffhanger.
Will Birdie has the same Will Birdie have the same fate? What do you think?
I feel like it's intentional that you don't know like what's going to happen with her, but I also feel like she's not going to do anything to like fuck with that again, in my opinion. But I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well,
I'm not sure.
But she unalived Eden because they kissed. And Birdie and Carter did more than kiss on multiple occasions.
I know. She's definitely a murderer that we got to watch. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But that's like speaks to this book. And that's, again, why it's a 5-star. It's like you have like so many elements that are twisty-turvy. Like you just don't know like who's going to be like wherever. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But I do think that leads us to down the rabbit hole. So we're gonna switch gears. I feel like we covered the whole book. We talked about it. We talked about the ending. We talked about all the things. I just really want to talk about Wicker right now. And that's what we're going to talk about with Down the Rabbit Hole. Because, so where's our monster romance girlies out? So, Michelle, you already know what I'm talking about, which is good. But for those listening who don't know what this is, Wicker is rated R. It's a romance comedy fantasy. It is rated 91% on the tomato meter, Rotten Tomatoes. It is called Wicker, and we have a stellar cast. And I'll get into that in a second. But let's get over the overview. It's called On the Outskirts of a Village by the Sea lives a fisherwoman, smelly, single, and perpetually ridiculed. One day, fed up with her stuffy, small-minded neighbors, she commissions herself a husband-to-be made from wicker. In an otherwise conservative town, this unconventional romance sparks outrage, jealousy, and chaos. And who do we have as our stunning cast? Oh my God, the cast. Listen, the cast. Okay, put your hands together, because the way that I was so excited to hear Olivia Colman, who has been mostly portrayed as like the aged woman in so many things, is one of the actors and producers of this film, Alexander Skarsgård, who of course was famous for True Blood. He's your, he's your guy from Big Little Lies. I mean, so many other things. That was just like the two biggest things I could think of, but the man's been in, I mean, countless and even more recent things. Then Peter Dinklage, please. He's the man who makes the Wicker Man. He's like the crafter. If you guys haven't seen the trailer yet for Wicker,
go look at it.
Please go watch it. Please go watch it, because you're absolutely missing out. Okay, so this is releasing, let me just get this straight. It's releasing October 23rd, 2026. And the way that Michelle and I will be sat, okay, we will be planning to attend. I already showed the preview to my husband, who was like, what is this and who thought of writing this? Not the point that we needed to talk about. Was exactly my response. I'm like, why is that your question? That's literally not relevant. Did you want to see it or not? Well, yeah, the cast looks great. Okay, then. So we are set. We're going to see it. All right. So the way the internet has just like obsessed with this over the last week, because the trailer revealed, if you haven't seen Wicker, the trailer, please go look at it. Do yourself a kindness and take a gander. Michelle, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so there's monster romance, right? Monster romance is a thing. But there's also like sentient object romance, and that we talked about like with that Halloween one as a joke. But I was like,
the fork one? The door one? Which one?
No, Halloween. The Halloween
Halloween.
Yeah. So we have to see which one it is, because there's so many. Yeah. And that's like a whole different route, because there's like monster romance where it's like the Minotaurs and the Mothmen and the lizards and all that stuff. The lizards that have two penises. And then there's the sentient object ones where they're like weird. They're not weird objects, but they're like normal objects that turn into like, these beings, and they just, go through all of the X-rated things.
Yeah, the things. Yeah.
So
good for them.
That's a whole different
milking Minotaurs.
Yes, but like I feel like milking like Minotaurs, like that's monster romance, and then we have like the object romance, which is like a different classification of monster romance.
But what if you ask your like in-town maker to like make you a husband, and he happens to be made of wicker? Like what?
My first thought was splinters. Ooh. Like what? That was like my first thought, because you have the trailer and the scene, and she's like looking down on him, and he's clearly naked, and then all of a sudden like her clothes go away.
Yeah, she's having a good time.
Splinters. Yeah. The splinters. Are we putting like a shellac preservative on the things so they don't splinter? Because I don't know if you've ever had wicker furniture.
I feel like if
it's true wood,
probably addressed it. Yeah,
but like. I'm just that's immediately where my mind goes. I'm like, this is not always a smooth surface.
Oh,
we need to protect. So I was like, oh, this is and the way when I first saw this, I'm like, this has to be like this is an actual. This is a joke. Like I thought this was like a joke like trailer. I'm like, no, this is an actual movie. Oh wait, this is an actual book. This is an actual book.
Listen, 91%. 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. 91%. On Rotten Tomatoes is wild. Guys, right, that is insane.
Because these are like
so
little
good
books. Like if you like any of the sentient object, like those are like really tiny, like novellas, honestly. They were like such small things. And these are books that people read on their Kindle, and then if you die, you want your people to burn your Kindle list because we don't want people knowing we read about
Alexander Skarsgård said, "No, I'm good. I'm going to be made of wicker. It's fine.
That's fine. It's fine." So I thought I think it's going to be funny. I think it's going to be hilarious.
Hour and 45 minutes long.
I feel like you can read the book in less than that amount of time. I haven't read the book before, so I was like, "Oh, this is one of those romances." So I thought it was hilarious. I will be curiously watching because I need to know what. And Splinters, please have some sort of shellac or whatever on the thing. Because the things are always in those romances. The things are bigger than the things that you normally see with the things.
I wanted to talk about Wicker because I feel like there is definitely a world of cozy monster romance that people have never read and have never understood, identified with, thought about, any of those things. And even though this isn't like our traditional down the rabbit hole, I thought it would be really fun to talk about Wicker.
Yeah.
And if you haven't had an opportunity to go watch the trailer and you're thinking, what are Danny and Michelle talking about a man made of wicker? I assure you, I had my doubts.
Yes.
Go watch the trailer and your mind could change. But also Peter Dinklage. Who the fuck doesn't love Peter Dinklage? Come on.
Of course. I do like so the detail that they're putting on the wicker because it's a man. He's just, it's like he's, Alex Skarsgård, which is with like a like just stuff on him, but like all of his features are the same. So it's not like it has like all the wicker on him.
He is wicker,
but like it has like all of the detail. Like I like that there's details.
All right,
yep,
mystery Q&A.
Mystery Q&A. Okay, these questions have not been shared with either of us prior to asking. So my question is, if you were to open up your Kindle or your Kindle app right now, what are you reading?
Oh, unfortunately, I'm reading A Court of Frost and Starlight.
You say that so sad, but that is what we were talking about next week.
I know. I'm struggling because Feyre drives me insane. I think her hesitancy is what drives me insane. And like, she's already the high lady. She's like been the high lady for like a hot minute. And she's still like, I'm going to go paint in this dilapidated whatever place because I'm not going to
No one look at me.
Yeah, like nobody give me attention. Like, what are you even talking about? Like, what world are you living? I don't know. Her naivety, like her ability to like play that naive person so often is just a card that I'm over with. Like, I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm so done with her. But anyway,
tell me more.
What about you?
So I actually started because to take a break from ACOTAR and reading through the Everflame books. I needed something that was more contemporary, but I didn't want to do a romance. So I started the Boys of Tommen series. So I'm reading Finding 13. So because that was recommended a lot by Natalie, our good friend Natalie.
Yes,
from
not just cakes. Natalie from Not Just Cakes so many times. Oh my God, so many times.
So I started
it so many times.
Because it's on Kindle Unlimited, and I needed something that was different. Because it's supposed to be a romance, but it's not like really like it's not like a standard contemporary romance or anything.
It's pretty dark. Yeah,
it's dark.
How's it going?
I'm in chapter like 5, and like with chapter 1, you're like, what the fuck? It is dark. Chloe Walsh, and so for this book, it's two different. From my understanding of the books, you are going through a lot of different characters, and you're just thrown with being and trauma and like nasty girl behavior, which honestly I'm like, I shouldn't be reading this right now because like my daughter starts kindergarten and her bullying started when she was because Shannon, her character, her bullying started when she was in like pre-K. And these awful girls have followed her into like teenage years and just assault her verbally, physically. So I'm reading this. I'm like, it started in pre-K. Oh my God. Like, I like internally, I'm like crying inside because poor Shannon, but also I'm like, what if? Which I don't even want to get into that. So, but yeah, so it's a ride.
Fun times.
It's a ride.
Okay, then
It's a pretty well written book for the most part. So I'm just going with the plot line for right now. But yeah.
Okay. My question for you is like, what's a place you've bought a book that you didn't think sold books?
Oh.
And I can go first if you want.
A place that I bought a book that didn't sell books.
Like isn't like known for selling books. So I'll give you an example. So like I'll answer first. So this weekend we went to TJ Maxx to look for toys for a birthday party. And I have never seen like books I would read in TJ Maxx. They had a whole selection. Like they had a whole end cap of like recent releases. Yeah. Like markdown books. I was like shocked. I had no idea. Like they had Bryn Weaver books. They had like they had Chloe's books on there. They had like a bunch of them. I was just like, wow, I had no idea y'all had books here.
Yeah.
So that was mine. I was like shocked. And then when I went to Marshall's probably a couple months ago, I saw that Marshall's now carries books. And like even in the TJ Maxx, they had 1,000-piece, couple different versions of it, like Fourth Wing puzzles that had like it was like a holographic once you put it together that had 2 different visuals to it. Yeah. Once you put it together, it was wild. And I was like, I didn't even know this was okay. I did not even know that y'all were in this game. Okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So I was wondering if there's any like place you've bought a book that you didn't initially like go there for book buying and stumbled across the book you wanted to buy.
I mean, first comes to mind is like Sam's Club. So we went there for
that's a great one.
I had no idea they had like a whole book section. They have like adult books and then they have like the kids books or whatever.
Wow. Do they have like a deal? Is there like deals on them?
Yeah, they'll have like a sticker on them sometimes, but for the most part, it's like, I wouldn't say that like they're a lot significantly cheaper. Yeah. They just have the books there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going in for my $5 rotisserie chicken. Might as well pick up a book too.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's like funny because like I expect to see books obviously at bookstores. And I also expect to see books for sale at airports, which is like weird to say. But like I expect
that makes sense though.
In the airport checkout areas. But like the books I read, I don't expect to see them at your Costco or your Sam's Club. So it's kind of nice to know that like they're starting to get it, get stocked in there. That's good. That's great.
Agreed.
I didn't think about that.
No, I know. I mean, obviously Walmart and Target have books, but you know what that also has books that I didn't realize had a big selection is Publix. At least Publix used to. Publix used to have like a big romance book section, like the little like grab ones. But
good
they used to. I haven't seen them
for those listening, Publix is a Florida-based grocery store.
Yes, it's
if you're not in the Lakeland. If you're not in,
But there's a couple. They've branched out. There's some in Georgia.
Yeah, they have. There's like the southern states.
Yeah, southern, but big in Florida. So they have books there. At least a lot of locations do. I know the one back home where we grew up in. There used to be one, or there were books at that one. Well, okay. Well, before we wrap up, let's talk about what's coming up next on Book Club After Dark.
Yeah, next week we're going to continue our coverage of ACOTAR. We're looking forward to reviewing these novels with you and talking about them more in depth. So let us know what you think.
And don't forget, we want to hear from you. If you have thoughts on My Husband's Wife or suggestions for future reads, drop a comment below or message us on one of our social media platforms at Book Club After Dark Pod. Show us your fan art, theories, or anything bookish you'd like to share.
And you can also visit our website, bookclubafterdark.co. Stay up to date on our cozy content and check out our merch.
That's all for tonight. Sleep tight, night owls. Until next time, happy reading.